Yeah, the police just came to my door looking for somebody. I tell y'all, where we live right now, we've had the police come here a couple times. So I guess that says that it's time for us to go. Yeah. They've been having a party next door all day. Get in the house and stop gathering, right? Like, they don't take this stuff serious. Ooh, spitting. Where's your pass? Oh, there it is. Here you go. I'm gonna change your diaper. No, don't spit it out, girl. So, anywho, like I was saying, we're living in the most interesting times right now of our lives. Like, this whole social distancing thing is pretty interesting. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. At first I wasn't taking this whole virus thing as serious as, I thought it would be, but it's very serious. And just the thought of losing a family member, I mean, anybody close to me right now to this, like, suddenly, oh my gosh, when I think about it, my heart hurts. And my daughter, she had like a stomach ache yesterday, and I felt myself getting anxious and like, oh my God, because, I left, I went grocery shopping, and I came back. I went to my parents' house, and then I came home, and I was just, like, feeling a little anxiety because it's like, oh my God, what if I lose my baby? Just the thought of losing one of my children to this. But, I believe we would lose an adult parent first. I don't know. And I think about my husband. He goes to work still because he's an essential worker. He makes milk. He works at they, milk. They fill the jugs, and that's an essential right now. So he still has to work, and it's just interesting. But during this time, I always see things deeper. I have another perspective of what's going on. And, I've been seeing this post go around about how we're being forced to stop. We're being forced to stop and, like, really assess our lives right now. And I felt like during this time it was a wake up call for me, because I was like, what if the Lord was coming to take us all right now? Like, I would so not be ready because I have not been living out my purpose. And I was like, Lord, man, I've been playing with you, like, for real. You are the one that holds my life in your hands, and I've been playing for real, for real. Like, I sit back and I'm so comfortable with watching other people get successful, and watch other people live out their purpose, and watch other people be themselves. And I was thinking, like, if this was the time where the Lord was calling us home, or if he's warning us right now, and he might be like, at the end of these 30 days, y'all coming with me. Like, what? So I realized that it's time for me to start telling my story. I hold back because I'm like, if I start telling my story, I have to show who I am. I have to be honest. I have to expose some things. And some people are not going to like what I say. And people, like the people closest to me, because me telling my story, of course, I'm going to have to tell my side. Like, I don't have to mention things. But anyway, I just want to be transparent and authentic. And I know my call is to speak. I know my call is to share my story. I know my call is to help other people break through, specifically women. And it took a long time for me to, recognize who I could reach. So I allowed that to keep me, closed up. But it's women that are like me. Like, I been watching Pastor Michael Todd's series, and I watched the last sermon he had about the full plates, empty table sermon, and I was just blown away because, you know, now is a time where we have to put ourselves out there because somebody needs breakthrough right now. Somebody needs the reassurance of faith. Somebody needs the reassurance of hope. Somebody needs to see that other people are going through what they're going through or have been going through what they've been going through. And now we're in a time where we can't continue to stay in the place where we've been. We can't continue to live the way we've been living. We can't do things the same way. And I'm talking to myself. I can't do that anymore because people need to hear. And like, you know, just thinking about his sermon, I was like, I got full plates and I have, you know, empty tables. Like, I have food that needs to be passed around to individuals, and my table is empty because I'm not sharing this food that I have with other people. And I thought about it, and I'm like, God has saved me from so much, specifically my mindset. He has delivered me from my old way of thinking. And I'm going through situations right now like a possible divorce and having to do, like, I have to become a whole nother woman. Like, I will not survive if I remain who I am. If I remain who I am now, I will not survive. I won't. And some of us have to come to this realization that we can't survive being who we are. We can't survive remaining in the same mindset. We can't survive without growing. We can't survive without changing our environment. We can't survive without capturing our thoughts. And that's where I am, because I'm just like, Lord, if I'm about to, you know, if my relationship is about to end, I have to do things I've never done before. I've never been in a position, like, and I can transparently say this at 33 years old, I've never been in a position where I've had to take care of myself 100%. And I mean, like, when I say that, I mean, like, pay all of my bills, buy my stuff I need, buy all of my children's stuff, like, buy a car and all this stuff. Like, I would be the one to manage and put these things in place, but did I ever have to pay all of this stuff on my own? No. Y'all, I'm terrified because I've never done that before. But in the past, I would just probably draw back and ball up and be like, no, I'm going to stay right here where I'm at. I'm going to let my husband continue to work, and I'm just going to make sure we straight and he can bring in the money. But now I have to do everything. I have to live separately from somebody, possibly. Like, I've been in this relationship for a long time. 20 years this year, I believe, in this relationship. So that's all that I know. But it took for me to begin to change my mindset because, in all honesty, I was living a codependent life. And that didn't begin when I got married. My decision to get married was based off of codependency, but it started as a child for me, which is a whole nother story. But, you know, it took a long time for me to realize that. And the only way I got here is because I allowed God to do what he needed to do in me. And I've come to the realization that I can't play with him anymore. So if he's trying to deliver me from something, it's not just because I need to change and I need to do what he's telling me to do. It's also because there are other women who are experiencing this as well. So my marriage is not ending, or, you know, we're not going through rough times right now because of abuse or emotional abuse or whatever. It's because brokenness does that. You think you're marrying the right person and you're not. You think that you're in the right situation and you're not. When you're broken, brokenness breeds like toxic stuff. And if that's all you've known since being a child, so God has saved me from so much, from codependency, from rejection, from fear, from worry, from, stress and anger and pain and hurt and depression and wondering why all of my relationships wouldn't last, and self-sabotage and being broke and living in poverty. Like, we don't understand that codependency breeds all of that stuff, and that's the life that I have been living. So, you know, I'm thankful. Like, in this time, I don't have fear per se. Like, we know that this is not a joke because, you know, people are dying by the thousands every day, and, you know, I pray for protection over my family each and every day that this passes us over. But coming out of this, there's no way that I could be the same, because the world as we know it is going to change. And not just the world in general, but the world as we know it, like heart wise, is because in for individuals, our heart is our world personally. And what's in our heart is how we're going to live. Because what's in our heart is in our mind, and what's in our mind is our world, right? So forget what we're seeing outside of us. What about within us? And the world is going to change as we know it. Like, as I know it, as I know my world to be, Crystal's world to be, has to change. It's going to change, even if I don't want it to, because I'm going to be required to do some things moving forward once this whole COVID thing passes over, that I would have never done before, or that I never thought I would be doing. And I'm not saying that from a place of fear. I'm saying that from a place of victory, because it's required. And I'm happy now that I get to change, because in the past, I would not accept change in the way that I know I needed to accept it, because change is scary. Change is uncomfortable. Change requires you to be somebody other than you want to be comfortable being. Change requires you to get out of your comfort zone. Change requires you to leave that person. Change requires you to let that go. Change requires so much. So, okay. So, you know, I'm happy. Like, there are things that we can do right now where we find joy, and I'm just so grateful, y'all, that I am changing. That I am changing. And that I'm aware of the change that I'm making and that I need to make. And I'm grateful that I get to be somebody else. I'm grateful, not even somebody else. I'm grateful that I get to be who I am called to be. Authentically, transparent. Like, I don't have to walk on pins and needles anymore. I don't have to withdraw